All right. Well, welcome to another episode of King Harvest Success Stories. And with us today is Candice, and she is agreed to chat with me today about her journeys, what happened, how it all got started, what approaches did she take to what she went through. I don't want to step on any of your stories. So why don't we just jump right into it now? Kind of give me that origin of kind of what happened, how
Okay.
you were feeling, what kind of drove you maybe to find out that something's not right.
Well, actually, I knew something wasn't right after I had um my third child.
Okay.
So, not to be like too TMI, but after you have a baby, yes, you bleed for a little while, but like it wasn't stopping. So I kept going back to the gyno and they kept telling me that they want to keep switching the birth control pills. So that's what we did. Some of it helped for a little while, but it didn't. I was still bleeding.
And
Um,
taking the birth control, was that really to try and manage what they thought was a hormone issue?
correct,
Okay. All right.
correct.
So
And
how long were they doing that type of approach?
so my son was almost 10 months old. The
Okay.
last one, the third one, yeah. 10
And
months
the
old.
and the
Of them just,
excessive bleeding was happening for that whole 10 months?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who was the first one, you or your doctors, who said, maybe it's something else?
It was really me. And then he said, let's redo the pap. And when I got the pap results, he said it was stage 0, microinvasive, and wanted me to come in for a second, uh, yeah, biopsy.
Okay.
And from there, he just immediately um, had me go to an oncologist, a gynecological oncologist. And then from there, he said, well, microinvasive, you know, you have 3 beautiful children. I guess you're done having children now. So I think hysterectomy is the way to go. And that should be, you should be done. We shouldn't have to do anything else.
And that was a full hysterectomy?
They left one ovary so that I wouldn't go into full blown menopause. Meanwhile, I am stuck in purgatory, so
Got
to speak.
gotcha.
Like it's I'm throwing the blankets off. I'm throwing, putting them back on. I'm hot and cold all night long, every
Yeah.
single night. Nothing
Yeah,
helps.
that's a tough one. I mean, it
Yeah.
really tells you how important getting your hormones balanced. And
Hmm.
once they do remove parts of your anatomy that are
Hmm.
integral in that, then I'm sure it's a constant battle for you to try and find what those right levels are.
Right.
Okay. So you said it was a what zero?
Stage 0.
Stage zero.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
That uh, microinvasive. It's if I did the hysterectomy, that means it's all gone.
Okay. So very encapsulated, not metastasized in any way. So they say we've got it locked down here.
Right.
These are the parts we're going to remove, and you should be completely fine.
Right.
Okay.
Shouldn't have to do any chemo. I shouldn't have to do any radiation.
Okay. Yeah. When I hear that word shouldn't, I kind of take pause. So where did it go from there? So you're at that 10-month, you get sent to the oncologist. They do the surgery,
Right.
correct?
And then it comes back stage 3B.
Comes back to where?
The cancer stage.
They reclassified it, but where was the cancer now?
It was obviously it was inside and outside of my uterus, my fallopian tubes, the cervix, and the, I guess, back of my uh, vaginal canal.
Okay. In the colon or just behind it?
It was in the vaginal canal and the uterus and the fallopian tubes.
Okay, got it.
So like
So,
all my margins came back dirty, is what they said.
oh,
That
and
was their word. Your margins are dirty.
yeah, they could have picked better wording, but they have their ways. So it came okay, so you had the was it a partial hysterectomy? And was that before they said you
It,
had dirty margins and it was level 3 cancer?
so in the consult, he said it was going to be a full hysterectomy, but then I guess during the surgery, he said he wanted to leave one ovary just so that I didn't go into
Got
full
it. Yep.
menopause.
Yeah.
But now the size of that one ovary now is the size of like an 8-year-old's. So they should have just taken it out anyway.
Okay. Yeah, and you're still going through what would be, well, we perimenopause or full blown.
This is like full blown and I'm stuck in it.
Okay. So you go through the now, did you go on chemo and radiation?
So correct. So from there, from stage 0, being told it was stage 0, then being told it's stage 3B after the hysterectomy, and then being told I have to do radiation and chemotherapy. And
Okay.
there was such great benefits with cisplatin mixed with radiation. So I had the highest dose of radiation for the longest duration. So they said if cancer ever came back in that area again, I can never get radiation again, nor would I ever want to because that messed up everything.
Yeah, yep. I mean, when you hear that term, a lot of people I don't think really identify with the word radiation.
Yeah. They
But
don't tell you everything that's going to happen afterwards. Like
yeah, they're
they
zapping you
can
with
tell
some
me
very
anything.
strong types of rays. And it does do cellular damage that, some of it you don't recover from,
Right.
right? So depending on how hard they hit you. All right, so they're hitting you with like gamma rays
Hmm.
or whatever type of, I'm just thinking the Hulk. So, all right,
I have
then
bladder issues
doing
from it now.
what's that?
I have major bladder issues from it now.
From the radiation because of cell damage.
Right.
So then they've got you on what they're saying is a very good combo of now injections of chemotherapy.
Correct.
Okay. How long did you go on that type of path?
6 months. Internal and external radiation and chemo once a week.
Okay. Was that probably done IV?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a PIC line or
First
anything?
time. The first time it was done intravenously.
Okay.
Um,
And how did you feel during the chemo? Were you just a wreck?
yes, but with this cisplatin, like I didn't lose all of my hair. It just got really thin, but I
Okay.
didn't lose it all. The cisplatin wasn't that bad. It was just bad towards like the last two, where I was very sick. But as soon as it stopped, like I got better.
Yeah. Okay. So you go through that 6 months and then you get more labs done.
Correct.
And what do those labs say?
Those labs said that I was good,
Okay.
but I kept having issues, um, vaginally, like still bleeding,
Yeah.
one, so I kept going back to the doctor. And he was just very rude to me after everything was said and done. So I didn't follow up anymore.
So bedside manner wasn't exactly the strong suit.
Right. And no other chemo doctor or no other oncologist would take me on as a patient because this doctor did everything. So
They it
nobody
was
wanted.
everything. It sounds like it was what he had in his bag of tricks.
Mhm,
And the other oncologist knew that was the bag of tricks and didn't even want to attempt it. So he essentially just kicked you to the curb.
mhm. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the Hippocratic oath that they're supposed to take. It's more of a hypocritic oath. And
Mhm.
it's really unfortunate because the entire medical system is owned by the pharmaceutical industry. Their entire education is allopathic, which is pharmaceuticals.
Right.
There's a much bigger story there, but they are not taught how to heal people. It's not their mission. It might be their mission personally, but when you start to get too far away from your education, they'll reel you back in,
Right.
right? So he probably had no idea about other approaches to this, things that could be ancillary, right? Okay, we can do this, but then you can do this, this, and this along the way, and it's not going to interfere with what we're doing here, but it will give your immune system support. It's just not in their curriculum, and it's really unfortunate, but they've been taken over lock, stock, and barrel by the likes of Pfizer and Merck and
Yeah.
and all
Yes.
of those companies.
Yeah.
So you go through all that, and then you get new labs. And what did those labs look like?
The labs after I was done with radiation and chemo, obviously some numbers were escalated, liver and kidneys and um
That's to be expected,
right, it's to be expected. That's
right? Your entire physiology, chemistry, biology just got put through the
but
ringer.
that was really all that was elevated.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the liver and kidneys are filtering organs, so they're trying to get all that junk out of your system,
Right.
right? Okay, so you've got through that. You got kicked to the curb by your oncologist. What was the next step?
I went on as for the next 2 years as if I get like I was cancer free.
Hmm.
Come to find out that um well, I guess I should say I was vaccinated.
Hmm.
I don't know if you believe in
That's a
Jewish
much
birth.
bigger story,
That's a much bigger story, yeah.
and that, yeah,
Um,
got you.
for another time, I guess. But after that second shot, so one of the incisions from the hysterectomy, it was like the size of a pea, and he kept saying it's scar tissue, and that was, you know, um, and he kept sending me out of the office. That was before I stopped seeing him for 2 years. So this after the second shot, this pea-sized ball under my skin where that incision was grew into a marble, and then it grew into a lemon to like almost the size of a softball. Like it was protruding out of my skin. So I didn't want to go back to him. So I went to my primary care, and she had sent me to a general surgeon who removed it. But while I was open, he knew it was malignant, and he didn't get it all and closed me up anyway.
He didn't get it all because he didn't think it was worth it?
Because he's a general surgeon, he's not an oncologist.
Okay, so he got what.
That was what he told me.
Okay. And was that and was that the right answer?
For me, no.
No, I wouldn't think so.
A surgeon's a
So
surgeon's a surgeon. You knew what you knew there was a mass. You knew what you
you should have known what you were getting into. He
exactly.
opens you up, sees that it's worse than he anticipated,
Correct.
but still did the
Oh, it's
surgery.
probably a lipoma or a what was the other one with the S? Starts with an S. Soma
A sarcoma?
sarcoma, yes.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably that. No
Okay.
big deal. We'll just remove it. And I'm like, are you sure? You know my history.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like you really read your file.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So that surgery gets done, and then what's the next? It's just a comedy of
Now that I
errors.
say all of this out loud,
I like, how did I live through this? It's an incredible story, and you're still standing. So, all right,
yeah.
so you get sent home after that one, and then what's the next
Um,
thing in the long
I
list of
I
things?
I called back the oncologist, not the one I went to, but the place where I had the radiation and the chemo treatment.
Okay.
Here out in Long Island. So, um, and then they wanted to do like a really hardcore chemotherapy, like immediately.
Just
And
chemo, because they couldn't hit you with radiation again.
no, no,
So that was out of their tool bag.
yeah,
So now it's just straightforward poisoning.
yeah.
Okay. How long did that last?
So that one was much worse. But that one was every week for 6 months,
Another 6 months.
and then go back for hydration, and then they had to put the port in, and um, because that was a much stronger chemotherapy than the one that I got the first time.
Okay. So at the end of that 6 months,
Well, actually, when it came back again and I was already starting the chemotherapy, that was when I started researching. I said, there's got to be another way.
so like a lot of people who are faced with something monumental like cancer, they a lot of times, not a lot of times, there are those who will become their best advocate through education, right? Because they're going to start looking for other things other than the things that haven't worked up to that point, right? This is one of the beautiful things about the internet is you have access. You have access to research. You have access to um, groups for support and to find out what's working for them. All right, so you started your own journey of research. Where did that lead you to?
That's when I found King's Harvest, and I was assigned to a consultant.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I'm allowed to say
Sure.
like so. Twana was really truly amazing. She checked up on me always. She was reminding me of my PET scans before, like she's like, I know this is coming up. Like you're making sure you're following the protocol, and
Hmm.
like she was so good about that stuff. And every scan, she's like, I'm not gonna bother you, but if you want to share with me the results, good or bad, whatever. And honestly, some nights we talked for like over an hour, just because.
Well, it's one of the things. There are a few things that separate King Harvest from other suppliers of cannabis oil,
Yeah,
and that is everybody has somebody that they can talk to. we call them dosing specialists, right? Which I do as well. But I also love to do these testimonials and stories because it's going to help somebody.
I hope so.
Yeah, somebody's going to hear this and either they're going through it or they know somebody who's going through it. And it makes a big difference when you can, say, rely on a company that you know has your back.
Yeah.
So you got started on our our C protocol. We all know
Uh,
what the C stands for.
okay. Yes.
And our approach is full extract cannabis oil, right? Because the THC in cannabis oil does amazing things in the system. And one of those is sets up a scenario that I'm sure you're familiar with this word of apoptosis, which in lay terms really means scheduled self-suicide. And it's a fun little, it's interesting. Nature works one way and fake works another way. And by fake, I mean pharmaceuticals, right? They're all synthetic. They take things from nature, identify what they say is the specific molecule, and then that's what they patent. Nature grows everything in perfect balance. So there is a plant on the earth that makes bioidentical compounds for an endocannabinoid system that every mammal on the planet has, right? And this is not a very old field of study. It's relatively new. And I think the reason more people don't know about it is research is very expensive. And pharmaceutical companies aren't going to research this.
Right.
They've tried to copy THC, and it's a miserable failure because you can't beat Mother Nature. And there's a plant that makes the
More than
chemicals that can make bad things in our system go away.
right.
So you started on our protocol. Typically, it's 60 to 90 days. We follow Rick Simpson protocol, who really he was the he was the cowboy in the Wild West when it came to spreading the message. And I mean, a lot of credit is due to him.
Oh, absolutely.
The founder of the company, Lee, um, it did amazing things for his epilepsy disorder, his opiate dependency, and got rid of it all. So it became his mission to help people the way the cannabis oil helped him. So you're on the protocol. You're talking to Tana, who was great with us, fantastic. And we do take the time because people need the time. They need to tell their story. And like I said, they need to know that they have the support going through this. So we do that a lot. We'll spend as much time as somebody needs to get them to a point where they feel comfortable enough in the approach and understanding that this is real. It's not voodoo. And we're going to leave you in better condition than the other team. And we're never going to hurt you. It's kind of a big contrast.
Yeah.
So
I
you
mean, you guys are more than just a consultant.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're more than that.
It's always good to hear that feedback. So you go through the protocol,
Yes.
and how was that?
I know at first Tona wanted me to finish the chemo and then do the protocol. Um, but honestly, I was in so much pain from the chemo. It literally felt like somebody was hitting me with a taser all over my body,
Okay.
especially at night. It was horrible, horrible, like this electric like pain. Like literally like somebody zapping you with a taser all over your body.
Well, yeah. They inject it into your circulatory system. Your circulatory system goes to every part of the body.
Right.
So they're circulating poison, which has that effect of pain. Did your bones hurt?
Yes.
Another
Yes. I felt stiff. I like it hurt to just like just to bend my elbow. Everything hurt. But when I started that protocol while still on the chemo, it all went away. Like it all completely went away.
So you start our protocol, and it cleared up the negative side effects that you were feeling, which probably was a big part of it was an inflammatory response,
Yeah,
right? So at your joints, when you bend, if there's inflammation, that inflammation isn't going to allow you to take your joints typically through a full range of motion, and then you can get that pain. So you
they
start
they
you
don't tell
start
you
on
that
our
either. They
what's
don't
that?
tell you that's gonna happen either.
No, they don't, because if they told you everything that was going to happen to you, you would say, "I don't think this is a good idea."
Yeah, yeah,
But they don't tell you all the side effects. People are gonna suffer different things. Some people suffer them all. Some people can skate through and not really feel the adverse reactions. So your adverse reactions were cleared up with the protocol, the
correct.
cannabis oil.
Yeah, yes,
And then you finish the chemotherapy and pardon me. And now are you just on the oils?
right.
Okay.
Um,
Now that is how long ago?
so I finished the chemo in, sorry, that was November 22. Sorry, June 22. I finished the
Mhm.
chemo. Then they wanted me to stay on, but I also, right before starting the 24 months of just Keytruda that they wanted me to do from June 22, 2022. Um, I
And
had finished, or
was
I had
that an
finished the
oral
protocol.
medication, or were those injections?
That was injections also, the Keytruda. And the Keytruda started attacking my lungs where I couldn't breathe at night.
And what was that for?
That was, I guess, because yes, the cancer shrunk and they were like, oh, the chemo was working. And meanwhile, I knew it wasn't the chemo that did that. That was the Pico. And but I had finished the FICO and I was just doing the Keytruda and it was attacking my lungs. And then I had another scan and it showed all crystals, calcifications, granulomas, whatever they were calling them. They were calling them all those three different things, all in both lungs. I was on an inhaler. I was miserable. So I called Donna again and I was just like, something's wrong. And she knew like not all of it was gone, but then she was like, maybe, like if you just want to, finish up with their protocol and like you let me know when you want to start something. I'm like, nah, I want to start something. Like,
No, no time like the present.
yeah. So she started me on, and within 2 weeks, I stopped using the inhaler and my lungs were clearing up.
Mhm.
So she had me doing the tinctures and like a suppository like every, 2 or 3 nights. And within 2 weeks, I felt so much better.
And were you still
Again.
taking the Keytruda?
No,
Okay, so you stopped that. So I would imagine some of those issues would've they would have gone away maybe at some point.
right.
The thing with
Well,
long-term pharmaceutical use is there's always fallout, and a lot of it is forever. So, anyway, your pain and your symptoms cleared up in your lungs. So did you
right.
go for another scan after that?
I did, and that was when we noticed, even though it was everything was shrinking in my whole pelvic area because it was in lymph nodes, and it was in a part of my colon at that point, and lymph nodes in my neck. So with the Keytruda, the cancer had actually it shrunk, probably, from the fecal in my hip area, like my pelvic area. But from me not taking it, and I guess because it was still in there, it had spread to lymph nodes in my neck.
Wow.
So then I freak out and I call Tona again.
She
So she put me on like a little bit more of an aggressive protocol that time, and that time I wasn't, no chemo, no Keytruda. I'm not doing nothing with these doctors. They wanted me to do some clinical trial called TIVDAC. The doctor calls me and tells me, I'm just going to let you know there's a 65% chance after the third or fourth treatment you can go permanently blind. And I said, hell no.
Yeah, that's
I got
that's a
three
side effect that
kids in
isn't,
the
I don't
house.
think is worth it.
Yeah,
Now, clinical trial means they're still practicing.
right.
And when it goes to human trials, they're practicing. They're seeing what the fallout is. And whatever that success rate is against what the negative impact is. So with a lot of drugs, they'll put them out there and they'll see, oh my God, this is killing people. This is causing these things. And they'll just silently pull it off, never to be heard from again. So now you're strictly on King Harvest protocol.
Strictly.
Okay. And that was the end of 22 when you stopped the Keytruda?
It was, yeah, towards the end of 22. It was like October, and then strictly on um the FICO King Harvest protocol from November, November, December into January. And then I had my scan done in, what was that? January, February, in January.
Of
And they
24
saw,
of this year?
no, February, sorry, that February of 24 this year.
Okay.
And that scan showed absolutely nothing.
Ta-da!
No evidence of disease whatsoever. Actually, you want me to actually like read exactly what they said?
I would love to hear this.
Sorry, I should have had this up.
That's what editing is for.
That's what?
That's what editing is for.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're telling an extremely compelling story.
Sorry, I always get emotional though. Like when I don't know why.
Well, because it's a lot.
Log in. Okay, we'll get back to that. It's not letting me log in. Something happened with Northwell.
Oh, technology. So the gist of it is you got a clean bill of health.
Right, they said no evidence of any. I think they used the word revisional, but obviously the point was no evidence of any malignancies, no evidence of any disease whatsoever.
That's awesome.
And then I go back to the doctor and he's like, I guess the effects of the Keytruda, they're still in your system. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Are you serious about that right now? I love that.
Keytruda destroyed my lungs. You guys were giving me inhalers so I could keep one at home, one at work, one in my pocketbook at all times.
And and, and this is the latent effect. All clear?
Full clear.
All clear. Yeah. Well, in every instance, from the time you discovered King Harvest through just your own research, is that how you found us?
Correct. Yeah. I changed my diet though. I used to keep like a Snickers bar at work in my desk, like I don't do that anymore. So obviously staying away from sugars, and I switched to like, keto bread or 647 bread instead of
Mhm.
um
Diet is a big part of it, of course,
right.
but also getting the right compounds into your body that is not going to destroy your systems, but support it while telling the cancer cells to commit suicide. That apoptosis word.
Right.
So today you're sitting there, not blind, which is really a good thing. I mean, the side effects are like, oh, you could go blind. Oh, no, I don't think I want to do that. So I'm going to go find another way. And you did, and you're still here.
Yeah.
So are you pretty much on a partial protocol, or is it more just maintenance?
I guess you would say maintenance, because obviously with it coming back twice, and I know they say, like cancer cells are still there,
And the
but
nice
they're
thing about a
not enough for it to show up on a scan or anything, right?
Mhm. So the nice thing about being on a maintenance, whatever that looks like, that could still be the suppositories if staying a little more aggressive. It could be strictly oral. It could be oral and topical, right? Because our skin absorbs things very well. And you can really kind of pinpoint it with where you're applying it to topically to go into that area. But when you have the broad spectrum of cannabinoids with THC being a cannabinoid, think of them as like sentinels circulating through your entire system, essentially looking for those cells that aren't right. And cancer cells aren't right. They're a mutation, and THC, let's just say, hunts them down and tells them, "You're no good. You should probably just kill yourself." And it does. It literally dies from the inside, and then your body just gets rid of it, right? So it doesn't spill any of that content out into the surrounding area or tissues, as opposed to chemotherapy, which can have a very different effect. Remember, nature and pharmaceutical, they operate different pathways. They blow the cell up. So when you blow a cell up, what happens to the contents of that cell? It goes out into the surrounding environment. What could that mean? That could mean that that now kind of exploded contents are now going to flow it out into the rest of the system, which is why it can spread around to different areas that they didn't predict.
Okay.
So that's my long-winded way of saying staying on it to some level will continue to give you that protection and that support.
I will say though, also, I do really wish I would have done my research a lot sooner.
You did more than most.
I could have
The
avoided.
majority of people don't, they just believe what they're told, and
Yeah,
they just accept that fate and that hope that they're gonna get better. More people, if they conducted themselves like you did in your approach, would have found something else that could have given them the relief they were looking for. And in your case, it just happened to be King Harvest, and you found the right people. So,
definitely. I really did. I really did.
yeah,
I can't
it
thank you guys enough.
worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. All right, well, this was a hell of a story, and somebody's gonna need to hear it, and I'm glad you took the time to tell it.
Thank you for letting me share it.
Yeah. Anything in closing? We know you already love King Harvest.
Yes. Yeah, that goes without saying. You guys saved my life. You
We hear that a lot for a lot of different reasons. So, we can't ask for a more glowing response than that. So, let's just end it right now.
thank you.
All right?
Thank you for saving my life.